Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having an awesome day today. So today I am back with another DIY tutorial, and today we are going to be making this cape style scarf inspired by one I saw at Madewell recently. It is so cozy and comfortable for this time of year, and also a really easy project. If you are a beginner at sewing, this is a great thing to start out with. It is pretty simple to do, but it has some fun details that make it really unique. So it would be a great thing to start out with. It would make a wonderful holiday gift as well if you're looking to save a little bit of money, and you can wear it multiple ways, either as a cape style scarf or as a regular blanket style scarf like I'm doing here. So it's a great project and a great piece to add to your fall and winter wardrobe. So let's jump right into the project. So for this project, you will need 2 yards of fabric, preferably something a little bit thicker with a thicker thread that is easy to unravel. I am using an acrylic blend here that I got at Joann's Fabrics, and it's super drapey and really soft and warm, so it's perfect for this type of project. And then you will also need some thread, pins, scissors, a sewing machine, and something to measure with. So first things first, I am cutting out my scarf piece. So I'm cutting my fabric to a 30-inch width, but keeping the entire length of it, other than trimming up the sides so that everything is even, and I have the same amount of plaid color on each side so that that matches up and is very even. So once the scarf is cut out, the first step is to hem the edges, and to do this I am just folding under each of the long edges twice. So we only need to hem the long edges because we will be making fringe out of the short edges. So I just folded everything over twice and then stitched it down with a straight stitch on my sewing machine. Up next, we'll get started on the fringe, and to start that, we are just going to cut out a little bit of that seam that we just stitched right at the edge. I'm using my plaid pattern as a guide and just cutting it to 1 square's worth, but you could do about 3 to 4 inches for a fringe. It will shrink a little bit. So I am cutting out that seam and just removing it, and being careful not to cut out too much, but this is going to make it much easier to remove the threads later on. And then I'm just going to start pulling out the horizontal threads so that I have a nice fringe hanging out from the edge of my material. This is definitely the more labor intensive portion of this project, but it goes pretty fast once you get the hang of it. I'm using a straight pin just to help me pull those threads out, and then pulling out threads until I have reached the edge of this particular plaid square of my fabric. And once I'm done, I have something that looks kind of like this, and I did also remove those little bits from the 2 side pieces that I cut out. So you could stitch a straight stitch across the top and leave your fringe like this, but I wanted to do a twisted fringe. And to do that, I am taking 2 1/4-inch sections of thread and twisting it to the left until it kind of curls up on itself, as you'll see in a minute. It just gets a nice amount of twist and then it curls back. And then I will twist the section next to it in the same direction until it has the same length as the first section that I twisted. And then once I am done twisting both sections, I'll hold them securely and knot the ends. And then you'll see that it will kind of curl over on itself and create that twisted fringe type of look. I did not go into too much detail here, but I will link a in-depth tutorial of this technique in the description box below. It took me about 45 minutes to do all my fringe, but I really love how it turned out. So now we're going to work on those little armholes. And to do this, I am cutting slits in my fabric about 9 inches across. And I measured in about 8 inches from the bottom edge of my fabric and did this in the center of each side of the scarf until I just had a nice little slit. And then to close that off, I will create a binding. And so to create the binding, I have cut out 2 18.5 by 2 inch pieces of fabric. And then I'm just pinning those together on the short end and stitching that down with a straight stitch at 1/4 inch seam allowance, and that gives me 2 loops of fabric that I can use to bind the armholes. So to do that, I will fold my loops in half and then fold each end towards the center so that it's a nice clean finish. And then I recommend doing this at an ironing board so that you can press it down and get everything very secure before you pin it to your armhole. So once you've pressed your binding down, you can go ahead and pin that to the scarf at the armhole, just sandwiching the scarf between the binding and keeping everything as even as possible, and keep it really flat as you pin, and that will make it much easier to stitch down, which we will do next. Just stitch down with a straight stitch all across, making sure to go through all layers all the way around the armhole. And once you finish binding both armholes, your scarf is done. I absolutely love how this turned out. I think I'll be wearing it all the time the rest of the fall and winter. It's just so cozy and comfortable. If any of you are interested in this specific fabric, I'll be sure to link it down below so that you guys can check it out. But if any of you make this, I would absolutely love to see your version. So be sure to tag me on Instagram at @JustLaurenJohnson. I would love to see what you create. It always makes my day when I get to see one of the projects that you guys have made. Thank you so much for watching and spending your time here on my channel today. If you're not already subscribed, you can do that by pushing the red button down below if you want to check out any more of my DIY videos. I'll definitely have more coming as we get closer to the holiday season. I know a lot of people want to do DIY gifts, so I'm trying to come up with some good ideas for that. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you spending your time here on my channel. If you'd like to see more from me, you can check me out over on Instagram, again, at @JustLaurenJohnson. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye!